Welcome back to Power Rangers Shark Attack, the podcast where we dive deep into the adventures of our favorite ocean protectors.
We're the Rangers of the sea, riding on the wave, sharks in our face, fearless and brave, underwater heroes fighting to save. The power of the ocean, here to pave the way. Rider and tide, feel the surge, shark attack team ready to emerge. Power Rangers Shark Attack, on a mission so bright, with courage and might, we'll win the fight. Thundering guitars, drums that excite, we're the guardians of the deep, bring on the night. We're the guardians of the deep, bring on the night. With an armed wave, we'll make it work, defenders of the sea, true to our purpose, Shark Attack Rangers, our dedication never shirks. Feel the adrenaline as we dive. Power Rangers Shark Attack, on a mission so blind, with courage and might, we'll win the fight. Thundering guitars, drums that excite, we're the guardians of the deep, bring on the night. We're the guardians of the deep.
In our last episode, the Rangers faced the shocking revelation that the Predator is Chip's long-lost sister, Lynn. Emotions are high, and new challenges await. Join us now as we continue the story in Episode 9, Currents of the Past. In the depths of the interdimensional fallen pirate ship, Captain Blackfin, Predatox, and Swasher gathered in the dimly lit command room. The air was thick with tension as the Predator knelt before them, awaiting her next orders. Predatox stepped forward, holding a vial of the sinister shark toxin. "You've done well, Lynn," she said, her voice cold and calculating. "But to ensure our success, we need to take the next step." Lynn, the Predator, looked up, her eyes filled with a mix of anger and determination. "What do you need me to do?" Predatox handed her the vial. "This is the same toxin I used on you. Use it on your brother. It will transform him into the Blood Surge Ranger, an unstoppable force under our control." Lynn hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "I understand." Captain Blackfin leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with malice. "Remember, Lynn, your loyalty lies with us now. Do not fail me." Lynn stood, her resolve hardening. "I won't." Back at the Megalozord command sub, the Rangers were preparing for their next mission. The recent battles had taken their toll, and the team was focused on finding a way to save Lynn. In the quiet of the observation deck, Henry and Courtney found themselves alone. The soft hum of the Megalozord command sub was the only sound that filled the space. "Courtney, can I ask you something?" Henry began, his voice hesitant. Courtney turned to him, her expression curious. "Of course, Henry. What's on your mind?" Henry took a deep breath. "I've been thinking a lot about how we got here, and I realized I don't know much about your past. What made you join the MRO?" Courtney smiled softly, her eyes distant as she recalled her journey. "I grew up near the ocean. My parents were marine biologists, and they instilled in me a love for the sea and all its creatures. When I was in high school, my mother got sick, and I had to take care of her while my father was away on expeditions. After she passed, I decided to follow in their footsteps. I became a nurse to help others, just like I helped her. Joining the MRO felt like the perfect way to combine my love for the ocean with my desire to care for people." Henry listened intently, his admiration for Courtney growing with each word. "You've been through so much, and yet you're still so strong. That's incredible, Courtney." Courtney blushed, her eyes meeting Henry's. "Thank you, Henry. What about you? How did you end up here?" Henry took a moment to gather his thoughts. "I've always been fascinated by technology. Growing up, I would take apart gadgets and try to put them back together. My parents thought I was just being destructive, but I was learning. I went to MIT and studied robotics and engineering. After graduation, I got a job with a tech company, but it didn't feel fulfilling. I wanted to use my skills for something greater. That's when I heard about the MRO and their mission to protect the ocean. It felt like a calling." Courtney's eyes softened. "You're a genius, Henry. The work you've done here is amazing." Henry chuckled, his cheeks turning slightly pink. "Thanks, Courtney. It means a lot coming from you. Their conversation was interrupted by the sound of the alarm. Rangers, we've detected the Predaranger's presence near the old shipwreck. Alvin's voice came over the intercom. The team quickly gathered in the control room, ready for whatever awaited them. Let's move out, Alvin commanded. We need to investigate and make sure it's not another attack. The Rangers suited up and headed out to the old shipwreck. As they approached, they saw Lynn standing alone, her Predaranger armor gleaming in the dim light. Be on guard, Monica warned. This could be a trap. Chip's heart raced with a mix of hope and fear. Lynn, what are you doing here? Lynn's expression softened, and she removed her helmet. Chip, I'm sorry for everything. I want to come back. I want to be with you again. The Rangers exchanged skeptical glances, but Chip stepped forward, his eyes filled with emotion. Lynn, are you serious? Are you really ready to come back? Lynn nodded, tears streaming down her face. Yes, Chip, I can't keep fighting you. Please, help me. Monica stepped forward, her eyes narrowing. How do we know this isn't a trick? Lynn looked at Monica, her eyes pleading. I promise, it's not. I've had enough of this life. I just want to be with my brother again. Alvin raised his hand, signaling the Rangers to stand down. Let's give her a chance. As the team lowered their weapons, Chip approached Lynn, his heart pounding. Lynn, I've missed you so much. Lynn embraced Chip, her voice trembling. I've missed you too, Chip. As they hugged, Lynn's hand slipped to the vial of toxin hidden in her suit. With a swift motion, she injected Chip with the toxin. Chip gasped in pain and stumbled back, his vision blurring. Lynn, what have you done? Lynn's eyes filled with sorrow. I'm sorry, Chip. I have no choice. Chip collapsed, his body convulsing as the toxin took hold. The transformation was swift and brutal, turning him into the Blood Surge Ranger. Lynn stepped back, tears streaming down her face. Forgive me, Chip. The Rangers rushed to Chip's side, but it was too late. The toxin had already taken effect, and Chip's eyes glowed with a sinister red light. Chip, no! Henry shouted, his voice filled with desperation. Monica turned to Lynn, her eyes blazing with anger. You'll pay for this. Lynn's expression hardened as she donned her helmet once more. This isn't over, Rangers. The episode ended with Chip's agonized scream, leaving the listeners on the edge of their seats for what would come next. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Power Rangers Shark Attack. The Rangers face new threats and discover new allies, but their journey is far from over. Join us next time as they continue to protect the ocean from the forces of evil. Until then, keep riding the riptide.